YouTubing friends, and welcome to this video on alleviating the dead zone problem or issue on the Logitech Flight Yoke System. I'll link you to my original video on a review of this system, and in that video I did mention, particularly when it comes to landing, this dead zone area, not the stiffness, it's actually the dead zone, how much you have to push the joystick to get past the dead zone or pull the joystick or left and right. How much that can be an issue with this joystick or yoke system. It's a known issue. In the video of my review of this, there's a number of people asking me on how to fix it. There's a couple of people who actually suggested a couple of fixes. There is a hardware fix. You can open up the body of this and remove a couple of things and add a couple of springs or zip ties, and that can help to fix it. I don't want to go down that route, and I'm sure a lot of you don't want to go inside this and do that. There is a way of alleviating, not completely getting rid of it, but making it a lot better in Flight Simulator X. I'm going to show you that. Apparently this works in Prepared 3D as well, with the corresponding and similar settings. I've not got X-Plane or Prepared 3D. I'm waiting for Flight Simulator 2020 before I buy another aviation flight simulator. That's why I've not got them. But it works in this, and it will probably work in the other simulators with the similar settings. Okay, so enough chatter from me. Let's jump into the PC and show you these settings. Okay, so here we are in Flight Simulator X. What you want to, you'll be on the home screen, something similar to this, depending on what version you have. I have the Steam Edition version. The area and settings we're looking for is in Settings, funnily enough. So click on Settings, go to Controls on the right, so click on Controls. Now, you may get this screen showing, which is the advanced controls, or you may get this screen showing, which is the simple controls. If you have this screen, ensure controller type is on the Flight Yoke system, because obviously that's the Flight Yoke system we'll be using. If advanced controls is not showing, click on this button here, advanced controls. It's this area we want to be changing. Before I do that, let's do a simple flight with the controls just as they are, because it's important to show you how these will change. So I'm flying the A2A Cessna in the Innsbruck, in the Orbit's Innsbruck area. So let's go and try this flight. So here we are, I've taken off. I'm trying just to trim out for fairly level flight, so I'm not climbing or diving too much. Left and right, so these are the default settings. You all know this if you've tried this. Left and right, you've got to move it past the dead zone area on the yoke system for it to respond. Going up, I'm pulling up, nothing's happening now. Pull up a bit further. You all know this. It's not very comfortable. So when you're coming into land, pushing down's not the same as while you have to push past the dead zone area, well past it. When you're coming into land, you're trying to get a flare. What you end up doing is something similar to that, flaring too much. Anyway, you all know that. That's the default settings, not very good at all. Let's go back to those settings area and change a couple of things. Okay, so here we are back in the settings controls. If you need to refresh your memory on how to get to this page, just rewind the video. Just go back in this video to show you how to get to these settings. The area we're looking at are the null zones. So what we want to do, we want to push the slider for the ailerons to the far left and the elevator. So that's basically for the left and right of the yoke. And that's for the pitch up and pitch down of the yoke. Put the null zone slider to the far left, and that basically gets rid of any sort of dead zone or null zone area within the yoke system. You can mess about with the sensitivity. I like to leave mine as at default. It's about halfway. You can actually push it up a bit further to make your yoke a little bit more sensitive, but it doesn't have a great deal of difference to the dead zone area. And in fact, it can make your yoke quiver a bit in game. It can make it shake a bit. So I don't fully recommend that, but if you want to change that sensitivity, it's up to you. And if you don't like it, you can always set it back to the way it was. Okay, so with those null zone sliders pushed to the far left, let's go back into that flight in the Innsbruck area. Okay, so here we are now with the new yoke settings. Again, I'm just trimming my aircraft, just bear with me, so I'm not climbing too much. Immediately, if I push forward, I'm having to push forward a whole lot less, and certainly what I've noticed is pulling back. As soon as I start pulling back, it starts to climb. So when you're coming in for a landing, actually what I'll do, I'll take this in for a probably scruffy landing. A kind of a rough landing, shall we say, just to show you that it does work well. Left and right, far less of a dead zone now. Absolutely. Works a whole lot better. Like I said, immediately when I start pulling up on my yoke, it starts to climb. That dead zone area I'm pulling up particularly is not there. Pushing forward, there's a slight dead zone area still in the yoke, but nothing too bad. It's like it's an expected, is the best way I can explain it, an expected dead zone area. But I'm not having to push forward to dive too far, only a little bit. And the same for the left and right. I'm not having to go to move my yoke left or right too much. Particularly left, it seems. Right, sorry, particularly right, it seems. Right is a little bit more responsive than the left, but I'm still not having to move my yoke too much left or right, or up or down. This feels, guys, a lot better than the default settings, and it's such an easy fix within Flight Simulator X and Prepare 3D. I believe you get similar settings in that. So what I'll do is just trim a little bit more, pull off some speed just slightly there. You see that green clump of trees coming up on the left. I'm going to start turning there. Like I say, this is going to be a rough, actually trim up a bit more because I'm going to start turning now. This is going to be a rough and ready landing. Not by the book. I'm just going to show you how well the the yoke system now works. The actual yoke on the Flight Yoke system is a lot better. I'm actually pulling up a little bit there while I'm turning, and that works a lot better too. So let's get the runway back in sight. Should be coming up. There it is. Not easy to see. At all, there's cloud formed over the runway now, unfortunately. I do have a little bit, there it is. I do have a little bit of weather. You can see the aircraft being bucketed around by a bit of wind. I do like a bit of realism. Now let's bleed off more speed and start trimming down. And I'm going to start extending flaps as well. I want full flaps. So I'm actually now pushing forward physically on my yoke to control that descent. I'm going to trim it down so I don't have to hold my yoke forward. This is not a video on a tutorial on how to fly. This is typically not how you would do an approach. I should have gone a lot further out, but I didn't want to make the video too long. So I'm going to dive down, bleed off the speed. My flaps are fully extended. It's going to be a scruffy landing, I did say that, but the yoke system is responding. The actual yoke and the Flight Yoke system is responding so well. If I didn't mess around with those settings, I would absolutely be in a worse position right now. There you go. Oh, yeah, I did say a rough landing. I've just nulled my throttle there. But I can push forward and pull back here. Absolutely, ooh, with no problem. This is not a good landing, but there you go. We are down. Can you get any rougher than that? It's just to show you, even when you come in on a tricky landing, you need to land an emergency landing, for example. And that was pretty much an emergency landing. The yoke system now on the Flight Yoke system just works a lot better with those simple settings that I adjusted in Flight Simulator X. Like I say, mess around with the sensitivity if you want to make it even more sensitive. I don't need to. These are right for me, the settings I showed you. So there you go, we'll just park up over here. Anyway, give it a go, you've got nothing to lose. If I find a better method of an even more accurate method of alleviating that yoke system, I will make a video. So there you are. Let's just park over here and take you to my conclusion. So there you are. Quite an easy fix to help alleviate that dead zone issue. Not a complete fix, there is still a bit of a dead zone there, but it makes it a lot smoother and a lot easier to land. There is another option I feel I should mention. It was mentioned on my original review video, and that is FSUIPC. FSUIPC. Type it into Google and you'll be able to buy it. It's going to cost you €28, €29, so it depends where you live. That's probably about £25 for me. I'm not going to buy it because I'm going to wait, like I said, for Flight Simulator 2020. If it goes on sale, I might buy this. People swear by this. I don't know how to use it. I don't personally have it. But apparently it helps to really alleviate that dead zone issue. I can't vouch for it. I don't have it. But if you're willing to spend a little bit of money, it works with Flight Simulator X and Prepared 3D. Then go and try this and buy this and try this. There is a bit of programming to do within the game, or a bit of settings to mess around with it within the game to get it working, but like I say, people swear by that, so that's another option. But anyway, if you like this video, let me know. Please leave a comment and subscribe for more. I'll see you soon.